Alright, how we going? So I'm gonna make a quick tutorial on just Substance Painter for bringing stuff into Arma Reforger. Let's turn off some stuff. So you guys have seen what I'm making or no? I'll show you what we're making first. And I'm not trying to make anything nice here, I'm just doing the speed run. So terrible UV unwrapping, that's what I'm about. Doing things quickly. So I'll walk everyone through, not necessarily doing this for the car or modeling or any of that, but we've got the wheel we need to finish. So I'll just do a quick version of how to bake really high poly textures under crappy low poly models. So we'll open up Toilet Kart. Got a couple of models here. We probably want to bring in low poly. As you can see, pretty small versus the high poly. Now, look, most people suggest 124 for Arma. I prefer 2K. And you can auto wrap. So we'll recompute all, no margins, rotate freely, keep it to 1, and avoid elongated UV islands. We don't want lots of long ones, just one is fine, and create fewer seams so there's less bits everywhere. So we'll do that quickly. Discard. Should be pretty quick. As I said, very small file. I made this only 4,500 polygons. First, the original tile is approximately 1.5 million polygons. Alright, that is not a UV unwrap that I like at all. I can show you why. So we can push F8 to go to baking. Or alternatively, you can use your keys up here. F9 to go back, F8 to go in here. So we'll put 2048 as the texture again, and here's where we can pick a high definition mesh to go to the top of it. So we'll go to that now. You'll see it meshes over the top of it. And a couple of bits missed there, not too bad. You can scroll down and you can increase the max frontal distance or decrease it. Red is not good. You want it just over the edge. And that's maybe a bit too far, but that's fine. Any ASDing, usually 16 is fine, but I'll bump it to 64 for the sake of showing you that you can. You can turn on these if you want to, it's not too needed. And for dilation, keep it at 32, that's fine. 16 to 32 is a good setting. So we'll click bake. See if we can do the magic with this low res. Let's try. Right now it's applying the high resolution textures from looking at that model onto this very low polygon model. So we can go have a look at it by clicking this. Oh, wrong button. Baked it again. That's fine. Doesn't take too long to do. So when you're done, you can click return to painting, or you can push the button up here or push F9. Alright, so return to painting. Now our model has a bit more detail than it did before. See, some of it's a bit blurred and lost, but that's fine. We're not too stressed because this is a low poly tire that's going to be sitting on a car, as I said. So we can start to paint this. So do a very quick job of this. So you can get a lot of assets online if you go and search. A lot of this stuff is free. I don't like the seams on that too much, but I'm not going to complain. Alright, cool. We'll go back, we'll keep it as it was. I think I prefer the cool. Alright, now we want to do the metals. So we got lots of metals on this. You get smart materials. Yeah, we'll find something like rusty. Let's trust. What's that one? That's not bad. I think I prefer this one. So drag him on here, and it's going to fill the whole object. Which, to be honest, I mean, it kind of works as it is. But we don't want that. We want to black mask this. Then we can paint in which objects we want to keep and don't want to keep. So in this case, we're going to do a quick paint job at the tire. And it should apply to all the textures on the sides here, as you can see. You can probably make it around the edge a little bit there. That's not too bad. Alright, we'll go back around here. Do the other side. That's not too terrible. Let it go up around the vertices there. Alright, cool. And the rest of those edges. So you just hold Alt to rotate around as you click with your left click. And zoom in and out. Obviously, if you've got this unwrapped on the side, you can paint it a little easier, but it's just as easier to do it this way. That's fine. Just to give it a base layer. Alright, cool. Pardon me. Alright, you hold Shift and right click and you can rotate the light around the object. And Alt and middle mouse wheel will zoom around. We'll add some dust. Reinforce use. Alright, what's this do? Terrible effects. Maybe not. Let that load in. Oh, interesting. That's doable. Alright, if we go black mask, add some of these in to give it some actual color. That's not terrible. Might have used this on another tire, I can't remember. And again, this is just layering on top of what we previously did. It's pretty intuitive staying in the lines. And again, a little bit out of these lines isn't too bad. It's just going to give it the effect of some shadows or oculation. Alright, we can go back and let's see if we can change that to pass through. See if we can get any cool effects out of the filters here. Oh, that's not terrible. I don't mind that at all. Alright, we'll keep it on that. That's fine. Alright, let's see if we can add some dirt to the tire. Yeah, that's not gonna work. That's better. But it needs to be a mask. Maybe not a bitmap mask. We'll keep that as is. New paint layer. Dragging in. Give it a black mask again. I'm just gonna paint over that, isn't it? That's alright. We don't need to go overkill with things I don't understand too much in this at this stage. trying to find a color I know I like. I don't know what this song is. We'll go through that. Alright. We go rustic oily machine. Now I know what you're thinking. That doesn't look good at all. I mean, first of all, subjectively that looks fucking cool, but that's fine. We'll bring in a black mask. Just give us some scratches in here. I shouldn't give it red, but we'll go back and change these so you can bump into the folder here and change the shiny paint color to make it more of a brown. See if that does anything. Scroll back up, click on the painting. That's a bit better. Alright, so now we can probably dust it up a little bit. Yeah, some dirt. See if this does anything we want. That's not terrible. Okay. That's some good mud. Alright, cool. Alright, so we'll go back, we'll black mask that as well. Maybe we'll drop the opacity. We'll drop that down. Let's give it some rough effects. Alright, that's a bit better. We'll zoom out. Give it one big one there. That's pretty good now. Alright, so we got a tire. So we can export this. And we'll export the mesh. And we'll make a new folder, right? So we'll call these textured FBXs. That'll fucking do. Terrible folder structure. Wheel. Toilet racer. Textured. Save. Excellent. Alright, next we need to export these. So I've set up an Arma profile already for my textures. I'm happy to share it with anyone, just let me know. But this is mine. So you need to export your RGB, your alpha, your REG, NUB, and your alpha into separate maps here, as you can see. And lastly, your emissive map if you're using it. So we're not using emissive in this, but you'll get your list of exports if you've set this right. If I go Arma, PBR, copy, I've made a copy of a copy of a copy. That doesn't matter. Cars, toilet car, textures. We'll save this in here. Alright, so we'll export the textures. Cool, they're done. So what we're going to do is rename them quickly. Cars, toilet car, textured FBX. So BCR is your normal map. Oh, sorry, your albedo color maps. Normal is the NMO. I mean, normal as in it's the normal map that's used for things. So we'll just go with it. Wheel, toilet, racer. Copy that. I don't really need the emissive because there's nothing in the emissive for this. Cool. If we open tools quickly, guys, I'll show you how this comes in. It's gonna come in fucked up because I have not scaled it at all at this stage, or added bones or anything like that. So here's the car we're working on, some of the wheels. Not sure if they look better from this side or not, to be honest. Similar vibes, you can see, right? Alright, cool. So we'll close out of those. And we're going to our vehicles we're making, and our parts we're making, and our wheels. So we have more wheels in here. So what you can do is drag things in. Data structure is important, guys. Here's my FBX files from my other ones. So I will delete this later because I'm just showing you how these come in standard. And you can see it's bad because it's going to try and use the default textures in here, which we don't want. So we'll drag these into here and let them turn into things that we need. And we're going to go make a new material. And we'll call him Toilet Wheel. That'll do. Alright, in here we want to bring in the textures we just made. So Toilet Racer Wheels. So we've got the BCR and the EDDS files are the files that are made for Reforger, essentially. So the BCR will drag up here to, it helps if we can see it, this top map here. And then we'll add the NMO. Now this looks really bad because remember this did not UV unwrap very nicely like the other ones that we looked at. But that's fine for the sake of this exercise. I think this will work. Alright, we can adjust these textures here too by turning out the specular or turning it down, so make it less shiny. Metal, roughness a bit, and up the oculation, and cavity. Alright, cool. So this looks trashier until we apply this. Back to this. So we can do that by loading the mesh on this to be the correct one that we just made. We've got this in here now. Save, close. Now the problem is we just replaced the wrong wheel. So I'm gonna have to go and fix this other one. Because I think I've just replaced the textures for this one. Yeah, I did. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so we'll go back to this. We made a second material. Toilet wheel. So that's on there now. And so this wheel, set this back to what we had for our old wheel. Save that. Alright, so we've got our new wheel. And we've got our old wheel. Cool. So yeah, that's probably it for the first video. I mean, wheels are kind of boring, but the next thing we can do is start to bring in the models. So I'll show you guys how we'll bring in an XIV file. I'll show you guys how we can make bones for these and make sure they're all set properly. I'll show you how we can do animations for the steering wheel. And then we'll talk through the configuration and setup in Reforger. So it's a bit of a process, but if you guys are happy to stick with me, I'm going to show everyone how we can make a toilet racer. I guess we can bring that in now too. Alright, let's go back to Substance and export that now. I'll save this first, sorry, save as toilet wheel. Alright, and we'll just open a recent file I've got here, my Toilet Kart. Alright, cool. So again, the same thing to import or export this into Blender, or to export it, import it into eventually Enfusion. We need to turn it into a meshed model with the textures, so we'll call this Toilet Kart, export him there, same place is fine. And we'll export the textures, same deal again. We'll use the profile we made earlier, copy, we'll change that directory back to where we were, Toilet Kart, textured, there is fine. We'll just check it's set. It is. Cool, so this is why I changed the file names, because this will override by default materials. Alright, cool, so we'll go back in there. So these are the carts. So I'll rename these quickly to Toilet Kart. Just copy that, right? Where's the other one we need? This one. Paste. And again, I'm not using an emitter map yet on this, so I'll pop it in here in case we add any textures later. Cool, sweet. So now we can drag the cart in the blender. And again, very small file versus what it was originally. Alright, we'll drop that there. Okay, so this is where I've had my test cards so far. I guess we'll pop him in there with the rest. I'll import it as a model. Give it a second for tools to do its jazz. And it's done. Alright. So by default, it'll import with no textures, which is fine. And it's not aligned yet either. I haven't done anything in Blender. This is just to show you. Bringing these models in. Turn it around. I might need to do that on the Y. My bad, sorry. Now he's the wrong way around. Flip that again. Re-import one more time. Alright, while that's going, we'll have to make one more texture for this, so we'll go data, and we go new, material, toilets, cool, and we go back here, and we'll drag him onto there. Alright, we'll grab those textures we made, we'll dump them in here, yes to all. And we'll open up the material we just made for this fella. We can drag these maps on that we just made. So Toilet Kart BCR. The normal map is the big one. And now you got a toilet in the game with a poo in it. Yeah. So not much else done yet to this fella. Oh, broke save. I guess we just save, that's fine. As you can see, it's very rudimentary, not animated or anything. Match ain't too bad. I've made worse. It could be a lot lower poly, but I'm actually pretty pleased. Example, previous models. Much lower polys. Anyway, regardless. Toilet. Doing its thing. So, yeah, I'll do another video tomorrow, and I'll show you guys how we can bring this into Blender and do the rigging of the bones and get these all sorted there. Thank you very much.